What is up, guys? Jason up with the New 80s Revolution down here in the horror cave. That's right, the horror cave for a premiere episode, a pilot, if you will, of a new show that I've decided to add to the channel. It's called the Vintage Horror Show. That's right, VHS, the Vintage Horror Show. And what is VHS going to be all about? I'll give you one guess. It's going to be about VHS. That's right, VHS tapes. And more specifically, horror VHS tapes. You might recall in the beginning of the channel, back in the day, back about 3 years ago actually, that wall over there in particular had a run or two or three of horror videos, VHS tapes. It was one of my earlier collections down here. And unfortunately, I gave them away to a former co-host of this channel. And so those are gone. And because I was over it, I was done with the VHS tapes. It was just this never-ending rabbit hole you could go down. And I was running out of room. I had no space. I needed that wall. And I just said, that's okay. We're gonna move on. I boxed up a lot of the comedy and the 80s movies. I boxed them up. I put them in the back room, and gave the horror ones away. And that ended my horror VHS collection. But it never ended the love. It never ended the desire, the passion for VHS. I love VHS. I love VCRs. I love VHS tapes. I love watching movies on VHS. And I like to do it down here too. I got a couple of older televisions, and I love coming down here. And especially since I've been working from home, I've had time in between patients, or if somebody cancels. If somebody cancels, I don't go run upstairs and join the family. Oh no. I stay down here and I put in a movie and I'll watch it, even if it takes me 2 or 3 days to finish it. I'll watch a VHS movie. So we're bringing back the horror VHS tapes. We're starting a side collection, and I figured I would do it with you guys and bring you along part of the journey. So basically, the Vintage Horror Show VHS is going to be my collecting of horror VHS tapes. Whether I find them, when flea markets open up again, I know I'll be able to grab some stuff then. Toy shows, absolutely. Conventions, Chiller, Niagara Falls Comic Con, absolutely. There's a horror convention in Canada that I went to with you guys called Frightmare in the Falls. Trust me, horror VHS aplenty. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for me to grab some horror VHS. And even if I have to jump on eBay and get a few here and there, we'll do that too. And as I do that, as I acquire tapes, I will share them with you. And since that might be hit and miss, that's not going to be a daily thing, I figured once a month, or if it's popular, maybe once every couple of weeks, I'll come down here and we'll have Vintage Horror Night. You and I will hang out and watch a VHS horror movie, and I will review it, and I'm going to add some snacks and some dining and some drinking into that show. So what I'll do is we'll go upstairs. You'll come outside with me as I grill a steak for Vintage Horror Night on the Vintage Horror Show. We'll order some food and we'll eat together. We're definitely going to have a cocktail, so we'll have a different beer, a different beverage for the night. And I want you to see the whole process. So I want you to see the cooking. I always am drawn to, for some reason, videos where, kind of like a day in the life type of videos where people show what they're having for dinner and they're cooking, and I don't know, I just love that. I get lost watching some of that stuff. And in fact, the concept for this show came from a friend of the channel, a friend of mine, the Big Beefcake, as he puts on a show called Saturday Night Horror. And in some earlier episodes, he would cook while he was preparing to watch his movie, and he would cook with you guys, and he'd show you what he was cooking and what he was eating, and I'm going to do that. I want to do that as well. So the Vintage Horror Show is going to be monthly to start out. Maybe you guys can help me pick a movie that we're going to watch. We'll come down here in the cave. We'll turn off all the lights. I'll do it late at night, and we'll cook and we'll eat and we'll have some fun. So that's going to be coming up. But right now, what I want to do is I just want to show you this very small, growing collection of mine. This will be the backdrop. This is kind of the horror section of my room. Tons of NECA Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger figures up there, and this is where the VHS tapes are going to go. I found this little stand that I'll show you, and I don't think you can see it in the picture right now, but I restarted the collection, and I quickly joined a Facebook group, a VHS Facebook group, and I made a post about that, of how much I hate Facebook, and that group is the reason why I hate Facebook. I got on really quick. I made a quick post. I got slammed by some dude. We went back and forth a little bit, and I was like, you know what, this sucks. I'm done. I'm done with Facebook. But in that 20-minute span before I got on and got off, a guy answered my post and said, hey, I've got some stuff for you, check it out. And he sent me his list, and he had maybe 10 or 12 videos, and I bought a handful of them from him, and he sent them, and so that really started off this new growing collection. I also found an ad on Craigslist. A lady was selling some VHS tapes. I asked her if she had any horror. She said she did. She listed them off. I didn't know half of them. They were $2 each. I went and picked them up. I got some stinkers and some funny stories to tell you, but we'll get to that. So let's first just take a look at what I got. And what you're going to need to know about this is I am not an expert on deep B-side, deep cut horror videos. I'm more of a mainstream horror guy. So if there's stuff out there that you think that I would enjoy, let me know, and I'll search it out. But I'm really kind of more of a mainstream fan, and so a lot of the stuff that you're going to see me get is more mainstream. But if there's underground stuff out there, if there's deep stuff, I don't mind indie stuff. It needs to be 80s, maybe 80s, maybe early 90s. Definitely 80s, maybe early 90s. I'm not going to get into later. I know VHS ended, into the 90s, but we're not going to get any deep 90s stuff. It's going to be it's going to be mostly 80s horror. And I want you guys to be involved too. If the friends of the channel have stuff, if you have your old horror tapes laying around your mom's basement, let me buy them from you. All right. Notice I said let me buy them. I'm not asking for a donation to the channel. I don't do that. If you have stuff, let me purchase it from you. Many of you send me stuff for free, and I'll never get used to that. It will always just blow my mind when you do that. But I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for the opportunity to purchase some horror VHS from you so that you can have your footprint in my collection. But I'm not, I'm not a fan of low budget stuff, really low budget. I'm not a fan of shot on video horror at all. I think shot on video is junk as far as I'm concerned. So I don't want anything to do with that. But indie stuff is okay, no name stuff, hidden gems. I'm all about that. That's fine. That's great. So that's really what the collection is going to be made up of. So let's dive in. Let's see what I got so far. These three that I'm going to show you came from the Facebook group. This guy on the Facebook group, he sent me a bunch of stuff, and a lot of this stuff, look, I have not seen a lot of stuff. For as much of a fan of this era as I am, there's still stuff out there that I haven't seen. A lot of stuff that I haven't seen. So maybe on this channel, maybe as part of like Vintage Horror Night, you guys and I'll maybe watch something that I haven't seen. Maybe something mainstream that I haven't seen, like Exorcist 2, that I really can't remember seeing. But check this out. This is a huge box, and it's got this awesome sort of book style packaging. And I love this. If nothing screams 80s about VHS, it's this early style of packaging. I love this. So we've got The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, to get into. Love that. In these big old boxes. We've got a movie from 1960. Maybe an early Children of the Corn style movie. This one was called Village of the Damned. Looking forward to that. It's from Blockbuster, which is weird because I didn't know Blockbuster had these big old book style cases. So I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's a very early Blockbuster release. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? But got this big old box, Village of the Damned. A little hypnosis, a little mind reading in here. The New York Times says it's a very unnerving chiller. This picture will get you. We guarantee it. We'll see about that, New York Times. Village of the Damned. If you want any of these to be the premiere of Vintage Horror Night here on the Vintage Horror Show, let me know. And maybe we'll do one next weekend or something. Maybe we'll have our kickoff Vintage Horror Night next weekend. Pick one of these movies that I'm about to show you and we'll watch it together. This one I know about. This one I love. Poltergeist. One of my favorite horror franchises. It's got that old style book opening. Love that. This movie was great. This movie is great. I loved it as a kid. This movie ended my relationships with televisions. Right? Even today, I'm a little unnerved about sleeping next to a television. You know, I always have those weird thoughts about the television, and that's because of this movie. As much of a fan of televisions that I am, you know, not necessarily watching modern shows, but you know, I'm a fan of TVs, the actual furniture, the actual appliance, a television. I love them. If I had, unlimited space, I'd probably have a collection of TVs. But can't sleep next to them. Are you kidding me? They will eat you because of Poltergeist. One of the movies that I picked up from that Craigslist lady. So this was kind of weird. There was a post, VHS tapes. She didn't have any listed. I wrote to her. I said, look, I know it's annoying, but could you tell me if you have any horror movies? She listed off about 6 movies. 3 of them blew me away, and I was like, I'm in. $2 a piece. I'll be right there. And the other ones I didn't even pay attention to. I just focused on the 3 that she had mentioned that I'll get to later. And I was a little disappointed. But from her collection, I don't know. This is a 1995 Sawbones. Sawbones with one of the Baldwins, Adam Baldwin. I assume it's about a killer surgeon. That's a little bit of what the back is all about. Killer surgeon Adam Baldwin. Sawbones. Maybe a Dr. Giggles type of movie. I don't know. We'll check it out together. Another one from the Facebook dude. This is from '88. This is this is from Watch What You Want, When You Want, Home Video. I don't know. Forum Home Video. Watch What You Want, When You Want, Home Video. Whatever. Scarecrow. Scarecrows, actually. With absolutely nobody in it that I've ever heard of. Ted Vernon, who's also the executive producer. Michael Sims. Richard Vidan. No idea. No clue. 1988's Scarecrows. Is it horrible? Maybe. Are we going to watch it? Yes. A movie that I started watching and then had to stop it and just say, all right, I got to refocus here. I was messing with my phone while I was watching it. I missed a bunch of stuff. I wasn't following the story. This is from 1981. massive cast. Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., John Houseman, but Fred Astaire in 1981's Ghost Story. And again, like I said, I started watching it, and then I was messing around with my phone, and I was distracted, and I was like, just stop the movie, start over. From what I'm gathering so far, it's four old men who are part of like this little club, and they sit around, they tell each other scary stories, and ghost stories, and eventually the ghost stories start to become part of their life, and stuff happens, and it starts off really quick. Like you gotta be like staring at the TV because you're gonna miss something, and you're like, I don't know who these men are and why they're talking, and they all kind of look the same. You know, the old men are all, I don't know who's who yet. I gotta start over and turn off all the lights and just focus. Ghost Story. This line, this was also from the Facebook guy. This franchise I love. I love the early stuff. I love maybe 5 or 6 into the sequels, and then it craps out. And now I think the name Amityville is just public domain because there's so many stupid Amityville movies, Netflix movies, whatever's using the Amityville title. But the early stuff I love. I'm always a sucker for haunted house stuff. I love that stuff. That I can never get enough of. But Amityville, this one is Amityville New Generation. This is about a haunted mirror. There was one before this about a haunted clock. Apparently, the clock and the mirror are from the original Amityville house. So this isn't even in the house anymore. Now it's just another house that has Amityville house furniture that's haunted. I don't know. There was an Amityville doll house that I didn't enjoy. There was a made-for-TV Amityville. And like I said, there's all the newer stuff that I won't watch. But the original and part 2 with Paulie from Burt Young, Paulie from Rocky. Part 3, 3D is great. I love those. I love some of the sequels, maybe up to part 6 or so, or the 6th sequel. But the later ones, So we'll watch Amityville, A New Generation. This is from 93. So we are going to have a few 90s movies mixed in here. This is the most modern movie I have, and the guy on Facebook threw it as a free gift, so obviously I'm not going to complain about that or turn it down, but I won't be getting newer movies like this. This is The Haunting with Liam Neeson. Haunted house, I like them. I like haunted houses, so I'll watch it, and obviously it's newer, and this won't be the theme of the collection, but it was a free gift, and I need some shelf filler, so that's okay. Again, I needed to make the shelf look bigger than it is, so I tossed my Gremlins copy in there. We don't need to talk about Gremlins. If you're watching this channel, you're very familiar with Gremlins. And now we start getting into the stuff that I am in love with, the Nightmare on Elm Street series. This is my very close second favorite franchise. I just, this is a whole lot of childhood wrapped up in here, and it's so weird to say that now. You don't hear kids talking like that now. Like, oh, this, the Insidious franchise is my childhood. You don't hear kids talking like that. Nightmare on Elm Street was an 80s kid's childhood. For some reason, your parents just didn't care as much, or we weren't worried as much, or they weren't worried as much. And we watched this stuff, and we handled it like champs, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that I was able to have this as part of my childhood. But this is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. We've got Nightmare on Elm Street Parts 3 and 4. Dream Master and Dream Warriors. Dream Master Part 3, filled with Dokken. Go check out some Dokken. As soon as you listen to some old 80s Dokken, Into the Fire, Freddy Krueger is just going to be playing through your mind that whole song. Nothing brings you back to these movies like Dokken music. Check these out. I love them. We'll watch them together. 3 and 4. We've got part 5, The Dream Child. It's a boy. This is when for me the franchise starts to tank. I didn't like Dream Child. I didn't like Freddy's Dead. But when I say didn't like them, does that mean I don't watch them? Does that mean I skip them when I have a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon? No, of course not. I watch them. You got to watch them. But to me they started to fade. But maybe through the love of VHS, I'll see the movie in a different light as I sit down here with you guys in the dark with my pastrami sandwich that we made together, watching Dream Child. Maybe I'll just love it. And now we get into my man, JV. Friday the 13th, my favorite horror franchise by far. Can't say enough. Can't get enough. Watch them every year. We'll continue to watch them every year. Prefer to watch them on VHS. Love them. Love them. Love them. And we're going to watch them together. We got part 1. We have part 6. Jason Lives. Love it. Love them all equally. Don't care to debate the movies. You know, I was part of a Friday the 13th group on Facebook a while ago. Quit that because of the stupidity in those groups, debating the movies and, just critiquing and criticizing, the later one, Kane Hodder's the only one who can play Jay. It's just so dumb. And I know people have opinions, and I know that's what Facebook groups are for. I just choose not to be a part of it because I can't argue that passionately about anything, so silly. This is Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan. It's not my favorite. Not my favorite, but fine. Always going to watch it. Always going to like it. Just not my favorite. I actually want 2 copies of the Friday the 13th series, or at least the boxes, because what I want to do is I want to have one on display and watch and enjoy and keep part of the collection. But I also, for the second set, I want to do an art project. I saw it on Pinterest or Etsy or something really stupid and lame like that. But I saw somebody cut off the spines here, and the VHS spines, and put them in a frame, and framed them, and had a nice little simple VHS spine picture hanging on their wall, and I thought it was the coolest, most simple thing, and so now I want 2 copies of the Friday the 13th franchise so I can make my art project. So again, if you guys out there have any old VHS horror tapes laying around and you want to make a few bucks, reach out to me and I'll buy some from you. So the reason that I connected with this Craigslist woman was because she told me that she had Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 on VHS. And as soon as I read that, I didn't care the other movies that she had, Sawbones and a couple I just tossed out because they stunk and I didn't want anything to do. Literally stunk. And I didn't want anything to do with them. They were just newer and stupid, so I just threw them out. And I didn't care. I only paid $2 a piece. And I just wanted the Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3. Can you imagine Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 on VHS? Wow. I don't even know what they're worth, but they're not $2 each. So I get there, and she hands me a bag, and I give her the money, and I just get in the car, and I start going through the bag. And there's no Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3. There is, however, a blank tape with Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 on it. Yes. So this is what I broke the speed barrier for, got 2 or 3 speeding tickets on my way to pick up Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 on VHS. And it ends up being this. Now, I was bummed, I was laughing. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. What if these are taped off of HBO in the 80s? Right? What if this has been around for like 30 years? What if somebody just recorded HBO's Sleepaway Camp? The following movie is rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America. Viewer discretion is advised. What if that's on there? What if the HBO, opening montage credits type thing is on here? What if like HBO coming attractions are on here? Then this thing is a gold mine. I can't wait. We'll watch it together. Let's check it out together and see what it is. What do I got? Do I have all 3 Sleepaway Camps taped off of TV? Taped off of cable? Local Rochester, New York cable in the 80s? Wow, that would be huge. Or they're just VHS rips and they're put on a tape. I don't know. No idea. Could be anything. They're not dated. They're written like the same day. The handwriting and the pen, they were written same day. So that kind of worries me. I'm thinking that they maybe weren't taped off of TV because somebody made the label. Somebody wrote all 3 movies at the same time. So usually when you see old tapes, you see different pens and ink and handwriting, and we taped this in 85. Oh, we taped this in 89. But this is like all 3. I don't know. We'll have to see. It could be great. It could be, even if they are VHS rips, that's cool. It's fine. We got Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3, kind of. That's that's it. I mean, at one point I had several. Now I'm starting over, and just a little side collection. Just a little. I like to keep this fresh. The collection. We're doing the GI Joes. That's staying passionate. That's high. We're exploring some Star Wars stuff. I've made some changes to the wrestling figure collection that I'm going to get into with you in another episode, and we'll be actually adding now some stuff that I didn't really think that I ever wanted or needed, but I'll explain it. And now we're doing horror VHS. So, like I said, if you want your footprint in the New 80s Revolution cave, let me know what you got. Send me that VHS horror. I will accommodate you with financially, and that's that. So we will do a vintage horror night monthly where you and I hang out, eat some food, drink some drink, watch a movie, talk about the movie. We'll do that. Hopefully, maybe next week I'll come down here and premiere that for you. So hope you enjoyed, and I've got a little new show here on the New 80s Revolution channel. We'll see you next time. Good night now. Guys, I love a good horror movie. And what is the point of a horror movie? It's to scare you. The Fear Footage Part 1 and Part 2 accomplished that exactly. It scared me. It made me jump. And I'm not embarrassed to say, it made me shriek a few times, just like a little child. Guys, go check out thefearfootage.com. If you like found footage movies, forget that. If you like horror movies in general, if you like to be scared, if you like to pull the blanket up over your eyes, go check out The Fear Footage 1 and 2. Order it directly from thefearfootage.com. Blu-rays on sale, or go check them out on Amazon, The Fear Footage.